See potential impacts.
He's passed through Arizona.
Plus, I got the chance to speak with the Civil Air Patrol and learn about how they operate as well as how they keep their flight crew safe during severe weather.
WBRC Fox 6 News. First Alert Weather Extra starts now.
All right, Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt. Well, we made it to Wednesday, right?
Yeah, hump day it is.
Yeah, so far, you know, the weather, I was out there earlier today, kind of hot, kind of humid. There have been some showers, not a lot of rain, but a few isolated areas of rain.
Yeah, I mean, luckily for us here, I don't really think any rain passed through us just yet.
Well,
Nice
we still got to watch it, though. It looks like tomorrow now we have adjusted the forecast a little bit. It looks like some showers tomorrow.
We have, and that's the thing. As you're making your weekend plans, don't think, oh, it's going to be sunshine and rainbows. There may be a rainbow, but there's going to be some rain in the forecast. We're just trying to pinpoint exactly where that heaviest rain is going to set up and trying to get an idea of that coverage. But of course, we're going to be talking all about that here on Weather Extra.
Yeah, we certainly are. I mentioned this earlier. It's kind of like this is the battle of the seasons we start to get into as we get into September, October. We have a front on the way, but it's stalling out. So we're going to hang on to the rain chances into tomorrow. That's the next big thing right off the bat here. We'll go to our graphics and just show you. First off, we have some clouds to the south. We've got a lot of clouds out there. We've had some storms around Auburn and areas to the south, and you could see some of those storm tops from the Auburn area as they track south earlier. Temperatures in the 80s. A little bit of rain showing up not far from Talladega. This is now tracking south into parts of Clay County. No lightning. Yeah, I was just noticing the lightning counter there. Still no lightning detected with that. But the hourly forecast, I'm going to keep a 20% chance in there for this evening. I think if we see any wet weather, greater chance of that will be for areas there off to the south. And tomorrow we'll see scattered storms coming back. Here's a look at rain chances for this weekend. You can see even Friday and Saturday, we've got greater rain chances there, it looks like, as we go into the weekend. But we'll get into more specifics on timing, show you some of the things happening in the atmosphere, a little bit more of the why about what's happening around the region. But as Hurricane Lee continues to make its way towards New England, it's a large system. Parts of Canada also expected to be impacted. Meteorologist Matt Daniel joins us now with an in-depth explanation on why it's going in the direction it's going in and the potential impacts to those parts of the country. As
we're continuing to track Hurricane Lee, and the good news, it's not going to have any impact on our weather. We got a cold front, a trough that's going to help steer this thing away, but there's still going to be some impacts. In fact, along the East Coast, we're still looking at a significant rip current threat. This storm is very large, and we'll show you those wave heights coming up shortly, but they're pretty large. Lee will likely weaken as it moves over colder waters. You have to remember, it's moving over the same spots that Franklin moved over. And it's sort of upwelled that water. It's a little bit cooler so that what it uses to gain strength, it's not really there. So it's going to weaken, but it still looks like we're going to have some increasing impacts for parts of New England and along northeast Canada as we go into the weekend. So here's the overall setup with the steering of Hurricane Lee. We've got a ridge of high pressure out in the Atlantic, and it's going to prevent Lee from actually making its way into the central Atlantic. Meanwhile, we have this trough, that cold front that's given us some clouds and showers today. This is what's also going to help steer it more to the north. So, of course, the timing of where it makes landfall really doesn't make it much difference. It's a large storm. It's going to start to lose tropical characteristics as it moves into that area over the weekend. So it's a big storm that's going to produce wind, rain, and maybe some beach erosion in spots. So here's the forecast of the wind field. It looks like a powerful hurricane, but as it moves to the north, it will weaken. And notice winds are going to be coming in from the north in parts of Maine and parts of New England. So they could see wind gusts this weekend right around 30 to maybe 50 miles per hour. And as the center of the storm moves on land, wherever it determines where it's at, either Maine or in parts of Canada, we're still looking at the onshore of winds, southerly flow on the right-hand side. So it looks like for most of New England, the winds are going to be coming in from the north-northwest. But with winds up to 40, 50 miles per hour with occasional rain, there could be some power outages and trees going down in those regions. As we go into Sunday, most of that is out of there. But look at the wave heights. We're talking about 30 to 40 feet near the center of that. And just offshore, we could see wave heights of up to 15 to 30 feet. So that's pretty significant. Once again, the winds are going to be coming in from the north and west behind that. And of course, by Sunday, those wave heights start to diminish greatly. And the rainfall potential, the heaviest rainfall likely on the north and eastern side of the area. But as you can see along the east coast, maybe 1 to 2 inches of rain possible. Parts of Maine could see up to 2 to maybe 4 inches of rainfall. But the good news, Lee, not an issue for us here in Alabama or the Gulf of Mexico.
Thanks, Matt. And as Lee draws closer, communities in Connecticut are already preparing for the hurricane's potential impact. Hurricane Lee will begin to experience impacts in Connecticut by Friday. One resident knows all too well about what storms look like when they come into the harbor. He says that the harbor is well protected with secure anchor systems in place. And even though Lee's path can still change, he is still deciding if he should get one last sail in.
The only way to be prepared is just to kind of get out on your own boat, you know, take the sails off it, and that's kind of what we do right now.
And the Coast Guard says boat owners should get their vessels out of the water or properly secure them. And join us tomorrow on Weather Extra to hear how meteorologists at our sister station up in Maine are also preparing for impacts and how it's affecting their forecasts. We'll be right back after this short break.
Welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra. I'm First Alert meteorologist Tania Michelle, and severe weather caused extensive damage in the Phoenix area last night into early this morning. Take a look at this. Storms knocked out power for thousands of people, and high winds even overturned 6 planes at an airport. Wow. Other areas also saw downed trees and power lines. Central Phoenix saw golf ball size hail and even flash flooding. And speaking of severe weather, our own Lauren Linehan got the chance to speak with members of the Civil Air Patrol and learn about how they operate. Tell us more about this, Lauren.
Well, Tania, yesterday I learned all about what the Civil Air Patrol is while over in Tuscaloosa and how they are such an asset to our community. Now, the Civil Air Patrol meets every Tuesday at the Tuscaloosa National Airport. They are the civilian auxiliary of the Air Force. The group focuses on cadet programs, emergency services, and aerospace education. So on that note, of course, I had to take the opportunity to talk with them about all things weather. And as meteorologist JP Dice knows, being savvy about the weather is a necessity when you're up in the air.
Weather has a big impact on our flight operations. So mainly if we're doing some sort of ES mission and if we're doing some sort of emergency services mission and the weather's not great, we won't be able to send a flight crew out. We might be more reliant on our ground teams.
They not only helped out with COVID test distribution during the pandemic, but they were the first civilian aircraft to fly over the World Trade Center after 9/11, tasked with taking aerial photography of the destruction. Now, the cadets also asked me what would be a good app to download to track storms. So, of course, you know what I recommended to them, Wes.
I know, the First Alert weather app. And don't forget that the weather app follows you wherever you go. You can download it for free by searching WBRC in your app store, or just open your camera on your mobile device. You see that code, just scan the code. A lot of cool tools on the First Alert weather app. And we now have the future radar mode on there, which is really nice. Still ahead on First Alert Weather Extra, our Sheldon Haygood talks about how to prevent wildfires with an expert from the National Association of State Foresters.
And the new warning from the CDC as ocean temperatures continue to get warmer.
Welcome back into Weather Extra. Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt. As wildfires have certainly become more frequent over the past few months, we've seen a lot of those across the southeast region, parts of Louisiana, parts of Mississippi. Our Sheldon Haygood spoke with George Geisler about the importance of preventing wildfires.
Did you know that 9 out of 10 wildfires nationwide are human-caused and fully preventable? May or may not know that, but that's why George Geisler is here joining us now virtual to educate us a little bit more on wildfires. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me on.
It's our pleasure. So first off, how can wildfires begin? I know that that's a broad range there, but there's several things that can happen.
Yeah, well, I mean, 9 out of 10 fires in the United States are caused by humans. And, a lot of us think about campfires and the idea, we've heard Smokey Bear's message, only you, and the training that goes along with how to put out a campfire properly. But really, there are a lot of other items that Smokey is trying to make sure that we're aware of. And that can include things anywhere from dragging a chain to driving on a flat tire causing sparks, dumping the charcoal out of your grill, or in more urban areas, the idea of even mowing your lawn and hitting a rock, you can cause a spark. So there's any number of different ways that a wildfire can be sparked. It's not always just the campfire that gets away. And really the messaging that's coming out with Smokey Bear and this new campaign is really getting people to be self-aware of all of those potential causes for fire and the ability that we have to help prevent them.
Yeah, that campaign is Smokey is Within. That's that new campaign. Just take us a little further with that, really.
Yeah, well, I mean, back in 1944, when Smokey first came around, the message stood with human-caused fires and preventing those. And, generationally, we have all heard Smokey Bear's message. And even our kids today and our grandkids are still hearing Smokey Bear. So we among the National Association of State Foresters, the Forest Service, and the Ad Council, we realize that in working with Smokey, many of us already know Smokey's message. And Smokey Bear is within all of us. And so this message is really to tap into that with the idea that we are all Smokey Bear. And we can all do our part, not only to prevent fires that we might spark, but also with the idea of if you see anything or can help to prevent a fire, to go ahead and do that also. It's a long-running campaign. It's going on almost 80 years now. It's one of the longest running and most successful campaigns that's out there. And it's a mission that most of us, whether it be state forestry agencies, the Forest Service, Ad Council, we all take that to heart.
All right, we all love Smokey Bear. I remember when Smokey Bear would visit our school. That was a fun day. And if you would like more information on this initiative, you can visit smokeybear.com. And speaking of the heat, our Tania Michelle joins us now with a warning from health officials about the dangers of abnormally warm water down by the coast.
Yeah, Wes, that's exactly right. See, concerns about a flesh-eating bacteria are heating up. And while only hundreds of cases are reported every year, more are starting to pop up across the country. That's why Fox News' Gary Baumgarten has more.
You can't see it, but there's something in the water, and it could be deadly. The CDC alerting doctors of rising cases of flesh-eating bacteria that lives in warm ocean water.
Vibrio vulnificus has mostly been restricted to the coastal regions of southern states like Mississippi and Louisiana. But more recently, it's been found along the East Coast as far north as New York and Connecticut.
Some scientists say human climate change is making oceans hotter, helping the bacteria to thrive.
The heat in the atmosphere, about 95% of that gets trapped by our oceans, and that's rising year after year.
Health experts say infections often occur when bacteria in the seawater gets into exposed skin through cuts or sores.
If you have a cut, then don't go in the water in the first place.
The bacteria can also spread from contact with raw and undercooked seafood that's been infected. Floods from hurricanes can also bring warm ocean water inland, bringing the deadly bacteria along with it. Doctors say there are visible signs at the site of infection.
We see these characteristic blisters, or what we call bullae, that develop at the site, and a lot of times they will be filled with blood.
Some infections could lead to death within 2 days. If you cut yourself while swimming or preparing seafood, health experts advise washing out your wounds with soap and water and to seek medical attention if a fever occurs. Gary Baumgarten.
And coming up tonight, we take you beyond the atmosphere to learn about a new planet that could be showing signs of life and where you could maybe see the International Space Station. But first, a look at today's Weather Almanac.
Well, hopefully we catch some cloud breaks because at 7:54 this evening, we'll have a great opportunity to view the International Space Station. It's a 7-minute flyover, appearing to the southwest and disappearing to the northeast. But be on the lookout this evening for the International Space Station. Still a lot of clouds, as you can see over Birmingham. The sky really putting on a show here. We're getting that glow, and what happens is as the sun starts to set and the light actually has to travel through more of the atmosphere, often brings out a lot of those oranges and reds this time of day, but it should continue to improve and become even quite colorful there at sunset. Look at this lovely view from Nectar right now, 79 degrees, and one of our First Alert Sky Vision cameras. You can see all of our Sky Vision cameras on the First Alert weather app. We have those linked in there for you. AccuTrack radar, if there's some rain out there, it's showing up in Clay County right now. Talladega and Clay County, a couple of areas I've called out quite a few times this week with some of those pop-ups. those will move to the south. Aches and pains forecast over the next several days. If you often get a little achy there with those big weather changes, this is all showing the barometric pressure, and you can see those levels start to waver a little bit there through the weekend and the next week. You may notice there in the medium range on the aches and pains forecast index. Next 24 hours, though, most of the rain's going to settle down for this evening, but that said, I'm still keeping a 20% chance of showers and storms in the forecast. The reason for that is we have a front that's stalling out. Notice tomorrow now, where it looked like the entire area would enjoy some dry, less humid conditions, I still can't rule out some clouds and some showers, especially for areas to the south. So giving you the first alert there for some rainfall. And then we'll take it beyond the next 24 hours. Looks like Friday and into Saturday, you can see some scattered pop-ups. Not a total washout here, but certainly as you plan ahead, just have a backup in case there is a pop-up shower or storm. That chance is going to continue, it looks like, into the weekend. You can see our kickoff forecast for sideline. We have now a 20% chance for Friday night heading out to the games this weekend, especially for tailgating at Auburn and for UAB. Watch out during the day. I think as we get into Saturday night, a lot of the showers and storms will dissipate. Tide fans around Tampa, also scattered thunderstorms will be possible there. Make sure you have the First Alert weather app so you can get those lightning alerts there. Our friends around Tampa, St. Pete for the weekend. Now here's one thing. We've got a First Alert for high pollen levels right now. We're in ragweed season, so if your allergies have been acting up this week, we're now looking at high ragweed levels, and that's probably going to continue on into early October. But the 7-day forecast this weekend, Saturday at this point, we have highest peak rain chance, and then for Sunday, rain chances start to drop off. You can see highs staying in the 80s. Overnight low temperatures will be in the 60s. But again, watch out tomorrow. Still could have some rain, especially for areas there off to the south. And how about this lovely photo from Crane Hill? Isn't this beautiful, Lauren? Leslie sharing that on the First Alert weather app. And I know we were hoping for maybe a little bit of a fall feel here over the next 24 hours. But what are we seeing as we go beyond the 7-day forecast?
Well, not much fall, Wes. I hate to break it to you. Now, we are going to have the first day of fall coming up here soon, but if we look at that temperature forecast 6 to 10 days from now beyond the 7-day, well, it's featuring the possibility for above average temperatures, especially in parts of west and central Alabama. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that in the days ahead as we look at those potential highs. And remember, this can change. Also, this model I'm showing you here, it's been running hot all summer long. So we've got upper 80s, potentially some low 90s, maybe mid 90s going into next weekend. And then checking out these low temperatures, 60s in the forecast. So we'll take that. Hey, it's better than 70s, which we became well acquainted with over the summer months. But as we look ahead to maybe after next weekend, you see this is looking at September 19th through 28th. Maybe by the end of the month we could see something in the 50s, but we'll see. In the meantime, what about rain chances? Well, it actually looks like here in Alabama we could be seeing below average chances for rain once we get past this weekend. It's all due to that next big thing, a front coming through that's going to help to dry us out and bring some lower humidity. So maybe, Tania, this next front will bring us a little sign of some fall in the forecast.
Lauren, I sure hope it does. I'm ready for these cooler temperatures so I can start sipping on my hot cocoa. But check this out. A giant planet about 120 light years from Earth may have water flowing on it. This is according to potential evidence uncovered by the James Webb Space Telescope. It revealed that the exoplanet K2-18b has an abundance of methane and carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And this could also support bodies of water and life. NASA also says the planet has a presence of carbon-bearing molecules, which could indicate a hydrogen-rich atmosphere. Carbon is considered the building block of life forms on Earth.
I don't know why, but it just seems like every so many years it's like we discover a new planet, right?
Dude, I'm saying there's more out there, and apparently we got aliens around here somewhere. So
apparently so. I've been seeing all these UFO reports, but looks like as we move ahead here for this evening, I just want to mention once again, 7:54, you'll be able to see it. It's not a UFO. It'll be the International Space Station, I promise. But hopefully the clouds break. It's still mostly cloudy.
Yeah, I know. I was looking at the satellite imagery. I'm like, well, seeing those clouds coming in from the west. We're hoping Spain, you can get that little break in the cloud cover, like you said. I mean, and Tania's out here discovering new planets, so.
All the time, listen. Eye on the sky.
Exactly, and we always have our eye on the sky here.
And we certainly do. It's about a 7-minute flyover, so these happen a lot, but this is one of those cool nights. Hopefully we'll be able to see it. Hey, 7-day forecast again tomorrow. Scattered showers and storms. It looks like that chance of rain continues into the weekend. And we'll have updates tonight, updates on the tropics, on First Alert weather. That's going to be first at 9, so stay with us.